Hey, Dragon Slayers. I was 243 this morning, and I am at 79, and that's about 26 and a half hours into my fast. I'll break my fast tomorrow, probably somewhere around 40 to 42 hours. Just kind of depends on how I feel. So today's video is about eating too frequently on keto. So it's going to be about eating too frequently, period, but specifically I'm going to share my experiences about doing it while I was on keto. So I used to think that because I wasn't spiking my blood sugar, that meant that I could just eat whenever I wanted, right? Like I could eat as much as I wanted, as often as I wanted. And so I was having literally from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, like 14, 16-hour binge fests. I mean, I was just pounding the fat, right? Just constantly eating. So I talked about in the last video about how I ate way too much fat, but also I ate too frequently. And this is the thing that I didn't understand when I started this whole process to try to reverse insulin resistance is that when you eat is actually more important than what you eat. And more specifically, how frequently you eat is more important than what you eat. I know, it's mind blowing. And I'm speaking specifically from the perspective of insulin resistance. So, there are several paths to reversing insulin resistance. There's not just one way, right? But there are several paths you can take. So, one way would be to never eat a carb, to never have any sugar, to never consume any bad oils at all, exercise 4 to 5 plus times a week for an hour each session. And after 3 to 5 years, you probably would be reversed. You probably would fully reverse your insulin resistance. It's going to be different depending upon where you start, but it's going to take a while. It's going to take several years, right? So, number two would be like you could lower your carbs and your sugar and your bad oils. So, not eliminate them completely, right? But just lower them to a level that you're comfortable with. Exercise as often as you feel like it. And you could, maybe say around 2 times a week or so. And if you did that, it would take even longer, right? So it would take probably 7 plus years. I don't know exactly how long. I'm just giving you a time frame based upon my experiences. Um, you could also lower your carbs, sugars, bad oils, as we've said before. Throw in some intermittent fasting, right, and achieve your goals in half the time. So Dr. Ekberg, and I put it in the description below, has an amazing video on how to reverse or how long it takes to reverse insulin resistance. And he talks about the most powerful things that you can do to reverse insulin resistance in order of magnitude from the most powerful to the least powerful is number one is fasting, right? Number two is keto, which is usually defined as 20 grams of carbs or less. So you're just in a constant state of ketosis. Number three would be a low carb, high fat diet. Number four is reducing stress. And number five is exercise. And so it's not that exercise isn't important. It's just that exercise of all the other four things mentioned, or yeah, the other four of the five mentioned, has the least effect on insulin resistance. It is pretty crazy because everyone thinks like, oh, you have to exercise to be healthy. Exercise has other benefits, right? Like it's going to make you stronger. Moving your body is really good. So you will stay more physically fit, more active for longer. You'll have less aches, less pains, less joint pain. You'll have better cognition, better, just you'll feel better. You'll feel more alive. You'll have more energy. Exercise has a whole slew of benefits. I'm not saying do not exercise. However, from the perspective of insulin resistance, fasting is far more powerful than exercise, right? And what you eat is far more powerful than exercise. You should be doing all of these things, but in order of what you should focus on, fast. There are people that get tremendous benefits from fasting alone. They still eat a crap American diet, but they fast and they lose weight and they feel great and all their blood markers and everything goes down. Again, not an excuse for a poor diet, but do not eat too frequently. I recommend everyone should be at least on a 16-8, right? Where you fast for 16 hours a day, eat 8 hours a day. I think that's baseline. I think that should be baseline for every single human being, no matter whether you're keto, carnivore, vegetarian, whatever you have, whether you have diabetes or not. I think that, in my opinion, that's like baseline healthy. So check out the video that I have in the description and leave in the comments and tell me your experiences with intermittent fasting. And remember that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.